as to what the outcome starting today will be. I want to start off by saying that Jamaica is in the top 5 most disastrous countries in the world. We sit in the middle of the earthquake fault line, and we are exposed to natural disasters. The pending impact of Melissa is not something that as a country we should take lightly. And even yesterday, engaging with some fellow Jamaicans, their argument is that we are a God-blessed country and we are gifted and the system will pass. Well, the Bible also reminds us that God helps those who help themselves. And I believe that we are at a point now where the government, the Ministry of Local Government, through the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, will have to take the necessary steps to ensure that we put in place the systems which exist that gives us the powers under the Disaster Act to ensure that Jamaicans comply and Jamaicans do what is necessary.
Do stay with us. The Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change joins me in studio right after this.
There are certain moments in life you'll cherish forever, like finding love, realizing your life is going to change forever, creating your dream home. These are your great moments, and helping you to achieve them is ours. Chris and Charles, powering great moments since 1992. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
The rebranded Heart NSTA Trust offers more than just skills training. Come to us for prior learning assessment to get certified without the need to attend classes. Let us provide the guidance and mentorship you need to start your own company through our entrepreneurship and business development services. Access our literacy and numeracy training through the High School Diploma Equivalency Program. We are Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back, and we're now joined by the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Matthew Samudo. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you so much for dropping by. Before we just get into all this, where have you been so far and how are things going?
So we've had a lot of preparatory meetings, coordinating with the varying agencies that are both monitoring and putting in place preparatory steps. So this week we've done our best to firstly get the public aware of the fact that there was a risk of a hurricane, and know the fact that as we sit here an hour ago, Melissa became a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane, and is projected to strengthen, could even strengthen by the time this newscast is actually aired. So we've been meeting with our agencies. Certainly one of my agencies is the focal point for information, which is the Met Service. So the Met Service has been keeping the government agencies, certainly through ADPEM, aware of what the level of risk is. And we've been providing them the necessary support for them to be able to monitor the storm 24 hours a day, which they are so doing.
You know, persons, as you mentioned, the Met Service, because that falls under your portfolio, like you said. But persons, are you sure they're understanding that they're simply doing their jobs, and so the system is changing, and so they're getting different information?
So this is an unusual storm. That's the first thing the public needs to understand. It's unusual to have a storm move at 1 mile an hour, 2 miles an hour, in terms of its forward movement, while sitting over very warm seas, while not being in control of, what system will come from the US in terms of northern winds pushing the storm further south, what systems will come from Central America, where they don't have those information sets. They have the information sets that they're able to control in terms of information here, and then they also coordinate very closely with the National Hurricane Center in Florida. They coordinate with, other agencies in Europe and Central America, etc. And they pull together the information to harmonize a position. So it's not an exact science, but the guidance has been clear. We will be affected at minimum by significant rains that in low-lying areas will create heavy flooding. In mountainous areas with particular soil types, and we all know where they are, we will be affected by landslides. And that guidance has been clear since Monday. Now, there is guidance now, if you look at the recent bulletins that tell you, we will be affected heavily by certainly tropical storm winds. And as you get into Monday and Tuesday, and possibly even Wednesday, you'll be facing catastrophic hurricane winds. Now, many things can change, and we want it to change. We hope it changes. But as it stands now, Jamaica and Jamaicans should all be finalizing their preparations for a very strong hurricane that will not pass us by in a 14-hour stretch in the way that a Hurricane Beryl did or a Hurricane Ivan did, that could potentially sit over us for days, which is a very unusual experience.
You did say days. Now, what will you be doing over the next couple of days then, as we anticipate?
So it's a number of things that we'll be doing, right? We'll be monitoring. Certainly, Minister McKenzie has his hands full with ODPEM, which chairs the coordinating mechanism through the NIAC, which is the monitoring center that is able to dispatch police, dispatch fire brigade, call on the JDF, bring in the Ministry of Health when there are issues in particular spaces. So his hands will be completely full. We'll be monitoring our particular areas. So my thing is to give the Met Service support and to also ensure that the National Water Commission is indeed able to respond as quickly as possible once we have the all clear from the Met Service and from ODPEM to say we're able to go, so that we're able to restore potable water where and when it goes out as quickly as possible. The other responsibility certainly is, as a member of Parliament, is touching base with constituents as long as the telecom systems are able to stay up, to make sure you're able to give the sort of emotional support even during what is a traumatic event, because we all know that this is triggering a fair bit of anxiety in society.
Let's look back at the efficiency of all the reports and what we're getting. Any concern that things have been hampered by the cuts to National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, etc.?
No, we have meetings almost every 2 hours and briefings and shared information. They're pulling our information, we're pulling theirs. We obviously don't comment in this sort of forum on those sorts of issues. But what I can say is that our partnership remains strong. Their support is invaluable, and I haven't seen any evidence of reduced support to us in terms of their information sharing.
So we have a new government and opposition at this point. Is there cohesiveness going forward at this time?
We do consult with the opposition, certainly with an event of this nature. The Prime Minister would have consulted with his counterpart, and obviously even at the ministerial level there are correspondence across the aisle.
Let me just ask you about your constituency though, because you're doing doubles work right here. What's the feedback?
So my constituency is one of the more diverse. It's also one of the widest constituencies, not deepest or largest in total space, but it also has 45,000 persons. So it's a lot to manage and a lot to keep in contact with, and there are, very large businesses and very affluent business people and obviously those who are just trying to make a way. So, you have to tailor your response to be able to ensure that first the macro response is in place. So we have drain cleaning tech in place, we have tree limbs cutting, we have JPS running through to maintain lines to reduce the risk. We have been checking in with the parish council to make sure that the shelters are indeed in place and ready to go. So those are your macro issues. At the on the ground level, you're working with your councillors and your team on the ground to make sure you're in touch, certainly with the elderly and shut-ins and those who have particular infirmities, so that you're able to make sure they get the care they need.
So we're hearing that this storm, hurricane, is likely to affect the entire island.
It will.
Against a particular, zone. What's your word at this time, or what are you getting?
It doesn't matter whether you're at the eastern end of St. Thomas or the western end of Westmoreland. You need to be preparing for a significant rain event, which means if there's a drain in front of your house that you can clear, you should. The government is focused on clearing all of the major drains. It doesn't mean we'll get to every single community, every single road in what's a bit of a sprint. So if there's something that could cause water damage to you that you have the ability to deal with now before the heavy rains start tonight or tomorrow morning, you should. Anything that you can manage to do in terms of protecting roof and windows, you also should. I'm a big believer in sandbags to protect water entering your homes if you're able to do that, or other sort of barricades if possible. And of course, you should make sure that you have as much sustenance as you're able to, and nothing like a flashlight and a radio and a battery powered radio.
Hearing that the dam is about to overflow, that's the Hermitage. Persons have been having water troubles in some areas, and so imagine now, is the NWC likely to cut their system? What? So
invariably, it's not the NWC that cuts its system, it's the availability of energy. So two things really will cause water disruption. One will be the energy situation, how long the JPS grid is able to stay on, depending on the severity of the storm. And then the other issue is turbidity. Much of our water systems are indeed groundwater fed. So when you have rivers in spate, you have particular challenges. So there will be some disruption. This is not going to be a Category 1, Category 2 hurricane as it seems now when it hits us. So it's not going to be a comfortable time for us all. And in fact, we're more worried about safety and return to normalcy and productivity after. So, I would recommend strongly store water that you can. Now, additionally, follow the notifications very clearly even after a storm, because there will be, as there are after all storms, some quality concerns. You'll recommend that you boil water immediately after. But also, be very clear that post-hurricane burial, we've invested a lot of time and a lot of resources to ensure we're a little more resilient than we were in when that storm hit. So, for instance, we have access to over 50 triple phase generators. Now, that is a sort of scale or size generator that we need to start up our pumps. Now, we also have some gravity feed systems, and we have been working with JPS to share with them the critical pumps that must go up. These are the pumps that serve hospitals and infirmaries and places of detention and places of safety where persons are in a space and can't leave to go and fend for themselves. So they know our critical pumps. We've bought some of our own generators and continue to acquire each year to make sure we're building that resilience. So we are able to, we believe, to restore between 70 and 80% of our customers within 72 hours, hopefully, after the all clear is given. And then, obviously, we hope that the rivers will not be in spate too long and we'll be able to deal with the turbidity issues. We also have 4 generators that we have made arrangements with to be on flatbeds to be able to go to remote communities that may not get restored with energy.
Okay.
For an 8 to 12 hour period to allow citizens in that area to refill, get some storage, and move to another community as well where there are power issues. So, it's by far from perfect. But we are building up. We're a significant distance away from where we were last year, and we'll continue to grow. But we do hope that this storm underperforms on projections or turns away.
Right. Thank you so much, and we will keep in touch as we continue to track Melissa.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay where you are. We will continue right after this.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace.